everybody to another episode of Making Monsters. We're continuing on the series, kind of getting to know some of these draft picks that the Bears just got. And today we are going to go with Zah Frazier. Zah was obviously a cornerback, defensive back at UTSA. He was picked in the 5th round, 169th pick by the Chicago Bears, coming from over there at UTSA. And we're joined today by Nick Graham. He is the cornerback coach over there. So, Coach, I really appreciate you hopping on with me.
No problem.
Let's start with a little bit of a time. I believe this is your 6th or 7th year now with the secondary at UTSA. So you've spent all that time, a lot of time with Zah. He did start at JUCO and obviously moved his way over to UTSA. So tell us a little bit about the start of that time, his kind of start at JUCO, and how you guys got him over to your team.
Yeah, he actually went to, I believe it's like not Southern Illinois, it's one of those Illinois schools first. And they had him playing safety, and he wanted to be a corner, so he bet on himself and went to JUCO. So where I first saw him was at Coffeyville Junior College. Just saw what you'd naturally see, long rangey athlete that can run. And so I recruited him really hard, was always honest with him during the process. And he got pretty big time, and he had a couple of SEC offers, and he actually ended up going to, I believe it was Kentucky first. Yeah, I think it was Kentucky. For whatever reason that didn't work out. I don't even think he got to like the practice portion or anything like that. It was, he realized it wasn't for him in those first couple of days when he first got there. And so ended back up. He liked what I did during the recruiting process. I was always honest with him about everything. And, so it worked out for us, and that's how we got him here.
Share a little bit about that, because I don't know how well people know. We know the recruitment process when you're talking about high school players. How much are you guys traveling around, going to these JUCO schools looking for players like that too? Or is it more word of mouth, like, hey, there's this player over here that you guys should come check out?
Well, we'll always hit those Kansas JUCOs, Kansas JUCOs, Texas JUCOs, Mississippi JUCOs, and we'll get out to Cali. It's a little bit harder just because there's so much more spread out, obviously, there. So we hit the JUCOs pretty often, and now, quite frankly, with the portal, we try to go in there and sneak guys out of there now, because the P4s, they don't hit them quite as hard as they used to back in the day. Now with you being able to just grab them from us,
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's where I go, and we've made a pretty good living doing that.
I love that. I love the JUCO stories. Honestly, we've had several in the Bears the last few years that have made. I want to say Jaquan Brisker went that path also. Obviously one of the starting safeties in Chicago went the JUCO route. Ended up kind of moving his way up. So it's cool because these guys, to your point, a lot of times they are betting on themselves, and
Right.
when it works out, it's fun to kind of see it that way. Let's talk about though his time at UTSA. So. Yeah. The 2022 to 2023, when you go through, he only played in 5 games in 2023. So let's start there. Was it injury? What was going on that year?
No, there was some academic issues, but it was out of his control.
Okay.
To be quite honest, I don't want to say misadvised, but that's really what it boiled down to. And so he had to miss some time. And so we, went through the whole NCAA process. And, if you know anything about them, it's hurry up and wait. So by the time we finally got him cleared, we were just 5 games. I think there was like 5 games left. And so I owed it to that kid to play. He came to me last year and he was supposed to play. He just wasn't ready. That first year we got him, quite frankly. And he sat, and then he came into fall camp, and he probably had the best fall camp of any of the guys who are on the roster. And then he gets the news, I want to say maybe 3-4 days before we're about to play our first game, that he can't play. But the kid stayed down. He worked his butt off. He went over there on scout team and went against the ones on our team. And when it was his time to go back in, and he was ready, didn't miss a beat. And that just kind of propelled him into this next year, which was this past year.
Yeah, and so that leads it to that. So I do want to ask specifically, because when you look at, he broke the single season record with 6 picks, which was second in all of the FBS list last year. So what did you see improve between those 3 years? Obviously, playing time helps. Getting out on the field, those numbers will come. But 6 interceptions, that's a big number. He also had a forced fumble. You kind of saw him in a lot of places there. So tell us a little bit what you saw those 3 years at UTSA just kind of improve and his ability at that corner spot.
Man, I just love his grit and grind. The kid, again, like I told you, he had got to the point in JUCO where he's pretty highly recruited. So when he came here, he just came from Kentucky. So obviously when he came here, he's like, dude, I should be playing. And so, and that's hard for those kids to, have all those, those dreams for themselves. And then you don't get to realize them that first year. But what I loved about him is he took his butt right on over the scout team. Now, it took a little bit of poking and prodding at first, but once he got over there, he knew that he could get better, because then I can grade the film, against really good guys instead of you going against our scout team guys. I couldn't really get him reps because he's not going to play. And so that's what I saw. The kid just never quits. He's always going to come in there with that big bright smile. He's going to be on time, and he's just a sponge. That's what I love about him. He's always looking for ways to get better. So those first few years, he was just kind of a baby deer. You know what I mean? He needed to get stronger, just the coordination and all that. But I'm telling you, once we put it all together, then it was just like, hey, Zay, go attack the ball. Just go attack. You're going to get a chance just because you're big and you can run. But go attack the ball and you can get drafted. And so, I mean, last year he did.
Paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at the Bears secondary right now, Coach, I think it's a really good spot for him, honestly. And right now, technically, they have him on the depth chart behind Jalen Johnson, who's one of the better corners in the NFL. So I think being able to learn behind a guy like Jalen, who now has a lot of experience at the NFL level and has been with a lot of different defenses and kind of a mess, but has kind of gotten through all of it. But on the other side of the ball, there on the other side across from Jalen, there's some question marks. Tyreek Stevenson, they drafted a couple years ago, a Terrell Smith. So some of those guys, he honestly could battle pretty quickly in camp. So I'm excited to see that, because I know he was one of the more, when the Bears reactions, when you see media and fans and they kind of instant react to draft picks. And he was one of the ones that a lot of people honestly were excited about. Just you see that pick number and it gets you a little pumped up, especially in a Dennis Allen defense, who kind of thrives off of those secondary players, and that's his specialty. And so where do you see his best fit? That outside corner is what he played the whole time at UTSA?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the college game is a little bit different. So our nickel normally isn't a corner. He's a linebacker for us. Okay. He's just an outside backer. So those are bigger body guys. So we really don't ask our corners to go in there and do that much. We do have a couple third down packages where they could be inside, but he was always on the outside. And we play quarters, and so and it's an aggressive quarters. We're pressing, and so he knows, he's heard for his whole career, you're on scholarship to stop deep balls, and so that's what we live on. We ain't giving up the big plays. If we play well, then we know that the team always has a chance to win. And so he's got that mentality. He ain't gonna be scared of nothing. I know he's got a great coach in Al Harris. I mean, it can't get no better than that, And so when I saw that Al was there, I knew he was in, with Dallas. Yeah. And I saw how well he developed those guys. I said, bro, you couldn't go to a better situation. So I think the sky's the limit. Now it's his job. I mean, those guys have more time with him. I've got 8 guys in my room that I'm trying to pour into. It's tough, and they got classes and all that other stuff. So I really believe that y'all are getting an even better version of Zay than we did.
Yeah, the student athlete part, it's like sometimes I think we talk so much football that you're like, oh, yeah, they're also going to class and having to do all of that and balance a lot of things. And yeah, I love the Al Harris hire. I think that when you look at what he did with the Cowboys, a lot of it was that kind of ball hawking, follow the ball, get those turnovers type of mentality. And that's something that the Bears haven't had a lot the last couple of years. So I love having a guy that I feel like can truly add to that pretty quickly. And that's what, to your point, that the Bears do. Dennis Allen's defense has a lot of sub package. So they have a lot where there is a third corner on the field, and the Bears do just sign their nickel corner to an extension. So I think they're comfortable in that room, but it's always good to have those depth pieces. And for Zay kind of developing and learning under a guy like Al and Jalen Johnson, I think will be fun. But let's talk a little bit, because another thing we see a lot with him, a Dennis Allen defense, there's a lot of zone. They'll throw in some man every now and then, but is there a thing that you thought he did better in that sense when it comes to man versus zone, or can he do both?
We're playing zone. Quarters is zone, but it just has men principles. So, I mean, he's able to do pattern. He can pattern read and do all that stuff. Zay can do whatever he's coached to do. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put any limits on him. He's going to always, the thing about it, he's just going to keep showing up trying to learn. So if there are things that he struggles with early, it won't be like that for a while, because he's going to work his butt off and try to get better at that. So him playing zone, I think he'll be just fine. It's not something we majored in, just like 3 deep and all that. That was more of a change up for us. Give my guys a little bit of a break. But you just want to find a more competitive dude, whatever y'all need from him, he's going to do it. He can play special teams. He can do whatever. And so I think it's great that he's going to be able to learn behind those guys. I've had some other guys that have gone to the league that didn't quite have that vet presence. And I know that they needed it. So I was excited when I talked to him the other day. He was excited, about those older guys there. So I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and I was looking back at your guys' schedule this last year too, and there was some. I mean, going against a team like Texas, who obviously was one of the last SEC teams standing in the college football playoff. So these guys have also gone against some really tough competition, especially this last year. What do you think they learned from that when it comes to that next level? When you're playing, everyone talks SEC, Big Ten, but when you being able to kind of have that conference where you're comfortable in, but open and expand and play against a team like Texas.
Yeah, I mean, we just play against who we play against. Anytime we play against Texas, I mean, I know you looked at that game, and there's a first-round draft pick there, and you probably don't see him catching anything on Zach. So it don't, what I mean? That's just the school we're at. Guys get drafted out of G5 every day. You know what I mean? They just have probably more NFL guys, but he ain't gonna blink. You know what I mean? Like that won't be. I'm as competitive of coach as he's probably ever prayed for, and I'm sure Al is the same way. You know what I mean? From what I've heard about him, so I think he's gonna be harder on himself than anybody can, and I don't think he'll be scared of anything. That's just not how we're cut.
I love it. And that's what the energy you want. And I think when you look at the NFC North in general, there's obviously a guy named Justin Jefferson. There's a guy named Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's a guy named Jordan Addison. So there's some really good wide receivers and that he gets to pretty much immediately go up and battle some of these guys. So I love having, you said that word sponge. He's like a sponge. And I love hearing that because guys who I feel like are coachable are the ones that I feel like work out a lot the most in the NFL. If you're able to kind of just adjust and adapt and that absorb everything you're bringing in.
Right. No, I completely agree. That's what I talked to him. He's heard me say forever, be a pro. I think it's Mike Tomlin that says it. You make the routine plays routinely. So he's heard that in the way that you carry yourself. You're prepared. You got, what I mean? It's your body is your responsibility. Knowing to play, all that stuff is your responsibility. So he's been kind of treated like a pro, just because I had a little bit of experience with it, my short time there. So I think he'll be just fine. I don't see it being a problem. I'm excited for him. And I think he landed with the best place he could go to for him.
I love it. When we talk about a couple more for you, when you talk about those secondaries in the NFL now, and a lot of times we've seen them start to adjust a little bit because now you're seeing linebackers drop into coverage. So secondaries are doing a little bit of different things. And one of my favorite positions is the cornerback, because I just feel like when you're watching corners, it's some of my Charles Tillman, for example, is one of my favorite Bears. And so when you are looking at that from the college level next to, what is the biggest thing you say to the players of what they may have to adjust from college level defensive back to the NFL?
Yeah, it's the speed. I mean, everything is sped up. I mean, he's gone against a Matthew Golden, obviously, who's a first rounder. So I know he's used to that speed, but it's just the entire.
And now a Packer. So
you know what I mean? Just how fast the game goes. Like that's the thing. And then just raising your competition level. Like your competition level at college is good, but most times those guys are more talented than everybody. Yeah. But now, like it's legit. It's every day. And I told them, you'll look over there Mondays and Tuesdays and they'll be parading guys in there that'll replace you, but if you're not on it. So I just think just raising that level to the ultimate level that you can get, because this is the best of the best. So to me, that's always the biggest jump. Just like, holy crap, these guys are big. You know what I mean? But he's ready for it.
Yeah. And that's what, I mean, obviously he went through some different trials and errors throughout his college experience too, which a lot of times helps him too, because when you go through that JUCO process and then you go through, unfortunately, with the academic side that he had and still playing it out, not giving up and continuing on, that's a testament, it seems like, to his personality in general.
Right. You won't find a better kid. I mean, literally, my wife loves him. My kids love him. He just handles his business. You won't find a person in this building that has a negative thing to say about Zay. He's just one of those kids that just does it right. And to me, that just speaks about how because I don't think any kid would have got through that if they were the other way. If they were a bad kid, they wouldn't have persevered through all that he went through. And he didn't have it easy growing up. He's got a fantastic mom and support system. So you guys are getting a good one.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get to know Zay on and off the field a little bit. That's why I do Making Monsters, because I like to get to know the guys beyond the X's and O's. I feel like so much we're obsessed with the football side of things, and there's a lot of really good people behind the football players, and so I like to get to know them a little bit beyond that. So I appreciate your time, and obviously we're cheering for Zay. I know on Sundays now you'll be actually the Bears play on Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday this year, so there's a lot of opportunities. to watch. So,
well, I'm definitely going to watch him. I'm waiting on him to get a number. I'm praying he's going to make that roster. I'm pretty sure he should make that roster, and then I'll get my jersey.
I love it.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest. I know it's technically off season, but it's busy for you guys. You
No
never
such
stop
thing.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Coach.
Have a good one.
Bye.